I was 25 and running my dream business when the police showed up with a warrant. They claimed I was running a massive fraud operation, all thanks to my college rival, Veronica. She framed me perfectly. They thought I was a criminal. I knew I was innocent. To clear my name, I knew I had to infiltrate Veronica's inner circle, find the evidence I needed, and watch her burn like my dreams had. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia, and I'm 25 years old. Before we dive into this, tell me in the comments, where are you watching this video from right now, and what time is it for you? I truly love reading every single one. If you enjoy stories of massive betrayal, shocking secrets, and calculated revenge, please take a second to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. It genuinely helps more people find these incredible truths. Now let's begin. My name is Sophia. I'm 25, and 2 years ago I launched Curated, an online luxury vintage clothing boutique that was my absolute life. By all accounts, I was succeeding. I had a beautiful apartment in Chicago, great clients, and I was finally debt-free. But success always seems to bring out the worst in people, and in my life, that person was Veronica. Veronica and I had been rivals since freshman year of college. We competed for the same grades, the same internships, and eventually the same market share. Veronica had launched a similar vintage shop 6 months after mine, but she lacked the eye and the network. She saw my success not as inspiration, but as a personal insult. I paid her no mind, until the morning the sirens came. I was finishing an espresso when 3 officers showed up at my door with a search warrant. They weren't looking for drugs. They were looking for evidence of massive credit card fraud. The lead detective was grim. He showed me printouts of emails, bank transfers, and social media promotions linked to a sophisticated scheme involving stolen customer data and fake chargebacks. The accounts were all under a dummy corporation, but the emails used my name, my business address, and even my unique promotional taglines. I stared at the evidence, my blood turning to ice. It was a flawless frame-up, designed to look exactly like the kind of fraud a greedy, successful young entrepreneur might pull. I was arrested on the spot. I spent 12 hours in custody. My lawyer, frantic, managed to get me released on bail, but the damage was done. My bank accounts were frozen, Curated was shut down, my reputation was annihilated. The detective made it clear they had enough evidence to indict me, and the one person who had been actively trying to spread news of my arrest online was Veronica. I knew she was the architect. She was smart enough and malicious enough to pull this off. She didn't want my business. She wanted my life destroyed so she could step over my corpse and claim my clients. I realized I couldn't fight this legally right away. The police had a perfect paper trail pointing directly to Sophia. To clear my name, I couldn't just hire lawyers. I had to find the original evidence that pointed to Veronica, and that evidence was locked away somewhere only she could access. I had to disappear from my own life and go undercover. I moved out of my apartment, cut off contact with all but my lawyer, and started tracking Veronica like a ghost. My plan was simple but risky. I had to infiltrate Veronica's inner circle, gain access to her physical workspace, and find the laptop or server where she ran the scam and, crucially, where she stored the original files that framed me. I knew her weakness was her vanity and her thirst for networking. She was obsessed with throwing exclusive, lavish parties for her elite clientele. I used my modeling contacts, friends I hadn't spoken to in years, and adopted a new persona, Chloe, a mysterious, wealthy European investor looking to launch an exclusive pop-up vintage shop in Chicago. I changed my hair, my style, and perfected a vague, continental accent. Within 3 weeks, using my new identity, I maneuvered myself into the orbit of Veronica's top social contact, a local socialite named Blair, who was known for throwing Veronica's major client gatherings, held conveniently at Veronica's massive loft apartment office. The night of the party, I walked into Veronica's life, looking right through her as if she were a caterer. She recognized me instantly. I saw the flicker of panic and then the arrogant, triumphant smirk. She assumed I was some desperate social climber using a fake name, and she was too convinced of my impending legal doom to recognize the danger. She introduced me to guests as my competition, poor thing, struggling with some legal drama. She was drunk on her own success and my downfall. My target was her locked office. While Veronica was busy taking triumphant selfies with Blair, I excused myself, claiming a headache. I knew Veronica kept her office door locked, but I also knew from college that she used the same password for everything, the birthday of her beloved poodle, Prince. It was childish, but reliable. I slipped into the quieter back hallway and, heart hammering, successfully entered the 5-digit code on the digital lock. The door clicked open. Veronica's office was a shrine to her ambition. On her desk was a custom-built laptop. This was the source. I opened the laptop and found exactly what I needed: a hidden encrypted folder labeled Project Phoenix. Inside were the original raw files, the thousands of customer emails she stole, the custom fraud script she ran, and a chilling subfolder containing a step-by-step breakdown of how she used my business registration and personal information to build the fraudulent corporation, all designed to look like a desperate move by a failing boutique owner. The final document was a celebratory email she'd sent herself the day after my arrest, gloating about my ruin. I didn't have much time. I quickly inserted a tiny encrypted flash drive I had prepared and copied every file in Project Phoenix. As the final file transferred, I heard the office door handle rattle. I pulled the flash drive, slipped out the door, and locked it behind me, just as Veronica walked past, too distracted to notice me. I left the party immediately, my mission complete. I gave all the original evidence, along with the PI's detailed report on the IP addresses linked to the fraudulent emails, to my lawyer. 2 days later, my lawyer walked into the detective's office and placed the flash drive on the desk. The detective's expression when he saw the file labeled Project Phoenix was priceless. The evidence was irrefutable. It contained Veronica's private login credentials, her unique graphic design files that matched the fraud documents, and the time-stamped emails that cleared my name. Within a week, the charges against me were dropped. The following morning, Veronica was arrested at her loft. The news of the arrest and the depth of her malicious scheme spread faster than any of my old promotional posts. Her business instantly collapsed, and her reputation was shredded beyond repair. I reopened Curated a month later. The outpouring of support from clients who had followed the scandal gave me more publicity than I could have ever paid for. I didn't just clear my name, I destroyed the enemy who tried to destroy me. I learned that when someone tries to frame you, you don't fight fire with fire. You fight it with perfect, cold, irrefutable evidence.